Listen carefully, because what you are about to explore is not about predicting the future. It is about understanding something far more enduring. It is about why, across thousands of years of human history, people of faith have looked at the same night sky and seen something far deeper than astronomy. A moon rises. But it is not silver, not pale, not familiar. It glows in deep crimson. A blood moon. Scientists explain it with precision. Historians record it with context. Yet generation after generation has asked the same quiet question. Why do these rare sequences of blood moons, known as lunar tetrads, sometimes appear near moments when faith itself seems to be shifting? Is it coincidence? Is it human interpretation? Or does it reveal something deeper about how human beings search for meaning when the world begins to change? To answer this, we must begin not with prophecy, but with perspective. Because the story of the blood moon is not a story about the sky alone. It is a story about the human heart. For as long as humans have walked the earth, they have looked upward. Not only out of curiosity, but out of necessity. Before written calendars, before modern science, before artificial light illuminated cities, the sky governed life itself. It determined planting seasons, guided navigation across vast oceans, marked the passage of time, and most importantly, it provided stability. Because while human life was uncertain, unpredictable, and often fragile, the sky remained constant. Stars returned to the same positions. The moon followed predictable phases. Day followed night with unwavering rhythm. This constancy created a profound psychological effect. It offered reassurance. It suggested that beyond the chaos of human existence, something steady endured. This belief shaped how people interpreted unusual celestial events. When the sky behaved normally, it provided comfort. But when it changed suddenly, dramatically, visibly, it demanded attention. Because change in something normally constant feels significant. This is why eclipses have always been among the most emotionally powerful celestial events. Not because they alter reality, but because they alter perception. A familiar object suddenly appears transformed, and human instinct is immediately activated. People ask, what does this mean? What is changing? What should we prepare for? These questions do not arise from science. They arise from the deep human need to find meaning during uncertainty. A blood moon is one of the most striking examples of this phenomenon. Scientifically, it is straightforward. When Earth moves directly between the sun and the moon, its shadow falls across the lunar surface. But the moon does not disappear. Instead, sunlight bends through Earth's atmosphere. Shorter wavelengths scatter. Only deep red light reaches the moon. The result is a steady crimson glow. Predictable, natural, entirely explainable. Yet historically, it has rarely been experienced as ordinary. Because visually, it is extraordinary. The moon, normally a symbol of calm and constancy, appears altered. And this visual transformation triggers something ancient within human perception. A recognition that change has occurred, even if temporary, even if understood scientifically. Occasionally, this phenomenon occurs not once, but repeatedly. 4 total lunar eclipses appear in sequence, each separated by approximately 6 months. No partial eclipses interrupt the pattern. This rare sequence is called a lunar tetrad. Tetrads are uncommon. Sometimes centuries pass without one. Then suddenly, several occur within a relatively short span of history. This irregular pattern has fascinated astronomers for generations. But it has also drawn the attention of historians. Because when historical timelines were compared with tetrad occurrences, something intriguing emerged. Several tetrads appeared near periods of profound transformation within religious communities, not necessarily causing events, but appearing during times when faith identities were shifting dramatically. And this observation sparked one of the most enduring discussions at the intersection of astronomy, history, and spirituality. One of the most frequently cited examples occurred in the late 15th century. Between 1493 and 1494, a lunar tetrad took place shortly after a major turning point in Jewish history, the expulsion of Jewish communities from Spain in 1492. This event reshaped religious demographics across Europe and the Middle East. It initiated a vast diaspora that would influence cultural and spiritual developments for centuries. Centuries later, another tetrad appeared between 1949 and 1950, shortly after the establishment of the modern State of Israel in 1948. This moment represented a profound transformation in national identity and religious history. Then again, between 1967 and 1968, another tetrad occurred during a period of intense geopolitical and spiritual significance surrounding the Six-Day War. These correlations were undeniable, but interpretation remained complex. Because correlation does not imply causation, and yet, the pattern revealed something deeply human. During times of profound change, people instinctively search for reassurance, and unusual celestial events provide powerful symbols through which change can be understood. This tendency is not limited to any one culture or faith. Throughout history, civilizations across the world have interpreted celestial events symbolically. Ancient Chinese records describe eclipses as moments requiring heightened awareness. Mesopotamian astronomers documented lunar events alongside political transitions. Medieval European chronicles often mentioned eclipses near significant historical turning points. These interpretations varied widely, but they shared a common foundation: the belief that the sky provided perspective during uncertainty. Not because it controlled events, but because it offered stability when human life felt unstable. This insight leads to a deeper realization. Perhaps the true significance of lunar tetrads lies not in what they predict, but in what they reveal about human perception. Because whenever societies face dramatic change, political upheaval, cultural transformation, or spiritual redefinition, people naturally seek symbols that help them interpret uncertainty. They look for patterns. They search for continuity. They seek reassurance that change is part of a larger order rather than random chaos. And the sky, vast and enduring, provides the most powerful reference point for that search. Faith traditions throughout history have expressed this relationship through symbolic language. References to the sun, moon, and stars appear frequently in sacred texts, not as predictive mechanisms, but as metaphors, symbols of cycles, reminders of continuity, expressions of the belief that human history unfolds within a universe governed by rhythm. This perspective transforms how blood moons can be understood. They become less about prophecy and more about perspective, less about predicting events and more about interpreting change. They remind observers that transformation is part of a larger pattern, a pattern that has repeated across centuries of human experience. And this realization leads to an essential question: what does the human response to blood moons reveal about the nature of faith itself? Because faith, at its core, is not defined by certainty. It is defined by endurance, the ability to remain grounded during uncertainty, the capacity to maintain meaning when circumstances shift, the willingness to trust continuity even when appearance changes. The symbolic interpretation of blood moons aligns deeply with this understanding. They represent visible transformation within continuity. They demonstrate that even dramatic change occurs within an ordered universe. They remind observers that darkness can alter perception without extinguishing light. And this understanding brings us to one of the most profound insights about human history. Change has never been rare. It has always been constant. What changes from generation to generation is not the presence of transformation, but how people interpret it. Some see uncertainty as chaos. Others see it as transition. Some experience disruption as loss. Others recognize it as evolution within a larger pattern. And throughout history, the sky has served as a powerful reminder of this distinction. Because while human events unfold unpredictably, celestial rhythms remain steady. The moon continues its orbit. Stars maintain their positions. Eclipses occur according to precise cycles that extend far beyond any individual lifetime. This constancy provides perspective. It reminds observers that human history unfolds within a framework defined not by randomness, but by order. And this realization can be deeply stabilizing, especially during periods when the world appears uncertain. Consider how this perspective would have felt to observers centuries ago. Imagine living in a time when communication was slow, information was limited, and events could reshape entire communities overnight. Wars could erupt unexpectedly. Political alliances could shift rapidly. Religious identities could face profound challenges. In such an environment, uncertainty was not abstract. It was immediate, personal, often overwhelming. And in those moments, people instinctively sought reassurance. They searched for something that felt larger than their immediate circumstances. Something that suggested continuity despite change. The sky provided exactly that. It offered a visual demonstration that beyond human instability, a larger order persisted. And when unusual celestial events occurred, they became focal points for reflection. Not because they controlled events, but because they symbolized the relationship between change and continuity. This symbolic function explains why blood moons have consistently held such emotional power. Their rarity captures attention. Their visual transformation evokes strong reactions. And their predictability within larger cycles reinforces the idea of order within change. Together, these characteristics create a powerful metaphor. A metaphor that resonates across cultures and centuries, because it mirrors the human experience of living through transformation. Throughout life, individuals encounter moments when familiar realities shift. Personal circumstances evolve. Communities change. Societal structures adapt. During these transitions, it is common to experience uncertainty, to question stability, to wonder whether continuity will persist. The image of a blood moon provides a visual reminder that transformation does not erase essence. The moon remains. Its orbit continues. Its relationship with Earth endures. Only its appearance is temporarily altered by perspective. This visual truth reflects a deeper reality about human existence. That identity can persist beneath transformation. That meaning can endure despite disruption. That continuity exists even when circumstances change. This perspective aligns closely with the deeper themes found across faith traditions. Faith does not eliminate uncertainty. It provides a framework through which uncertainty can be navigated. It affirms that change does not negate purpose. It emphasizes that transformation is part of a larger journey rather than an endpoint. The symbolic interpretation of blood moons supports this understanding. They visually demonstrate that dramatic change can occur without destroying underlying continuity. They illustrate that darkness can transform perception without eliminating light. They encourage observers to maintain perspective during periods of uncertainty. This brings us to a deeper insight about the relationship between celestial events and human psychology. Humans are pattern-seeking beings. The mind is wired to detect connections, especially during times of instability. When the future feels uncertain, the brain instinctively searches for patterns that suggest order. This tendency is not irrational. It is adaptive. It helps individuals cope with uncertainty by creating a sense of coherence. And the sky, vast and predictable, provides an ideal reference point for this process. Celestial events serve as anchors for meaning. They allow individuals and communities to interpret change within a broader framework. They transform uncertainty into narrative, and narrative provides reassurance. Modern science has dramatically expanded our understanding of the universe. We can calculate celestial movements with extraordinary precision. We understand the physical mechanisms behind lunar eclipses. We know exactly why the moon appears red during these events. This knowledge has eliminated mystery in a scientific sense, but it has not eliminated symbolic significance. Because scientific explanation addresses one dimension of human curiosity. It explains how events occur, but it does not fully address why those events feel meaningful. Meaning arises from interpretation, from the relationship between observation and experience. And this relationship remains as strong today as it was centuries ago. Even in modern societies, blood moons continue to capture widespread attention. People gather to observe them. Photographs circulate across the world within moments. Conversations emerge about their significance. This response demonstrates that technological advancement has not diminished humanity's symbolic imagination. It has simply transformed how that imagination is expressed. Science and symbolism now coexist. One explains mechanics. The other explores meaning. Both contribute to a fuller understanding of human experience. At its deepest level, the story of blood moons reveals something fundamental about the human condition. People do not simply observe the universe. They engage with it. They project questions onto it. They use it as a reference point for understanding their place within a larger existence. The sky becomes a mirror, reflecting hopes, fears, questions, and the enduring search for stability within change. This is why the image of a blood moon remains so powerful. It represents a moment when something familiar appears transformed, yet remains fundamentally unchanged. The moon is still present. Its light is still there. Its orbit continues uninterrupted. Only perspective has shifted, and this mirrors the experience of transformation in human life. Circumstances may change dramatically, but underlying principles often remain intact. Meaning persists. Identity endures. Continuity continues beneath appearance. Understanding this distinction can profoundly reshape how change is experienced. Instead of perceiving transformation as disruption, it can be viewed as evolution. Instead of interpreting uncertainty as chaos, it can be recognized as transition within a larger pattern. This shift in perspective does not eliminate challenges, but it provides reassurance, because it affirms that change occurs within a stable framework rather than in isolation. And this reassurance has been central to the symbolic interpretation of celestial events throughout history. Blood moons, in particular, have served as reminders that transformation is not unprecedented, that cycles continue, that continuity persists, that even moments of darkness exist within a larger rhythm defined by light. This understanding invites reflection rather than fear. It encourages observers to step back from immediate circumstances, to consider the broader patterns that shape existence, to recognize that human history unfolds within a universe defined not by chaos, but by order. And when this broader perspective begins to settle in, something shifts within the human mind. The focus moves away from immediate uncertainty and toward enduring stability, because it becomes clear that while human history is filled with transformation, the larger framework within which it unfolds remains steady. Empires rise and fall. Nations evolve. Communities redefine themselves. Yet the rhythms of the universe continue unchanged. The moon still moves along its orbit. Stars maintain their ancient positions. Celestial cycles persist with unwavering precision. This constancy offers a powerful reminder that change, no matter how dramatic, exists within continuity. And understanding this can profoundly reshape how uncertainty is experienced. Consider the emotional impact of witnessing a blood moon. For a moment, something normally constant appears altered. The familiar glow of the moon transforms into deep crimson. It can feel unsettling, unexpected, even symbolic. Yet the transformation is temporary. Gradually, the shadow passes. The moon returns to its familiar appearance. Its light resumes its usual brightness, and observers realize something essential. The moon never disappeared. It was never destroyed. Its light was never extinguished. It was simply filtered through a different perspective. This realization mirrors one of the most profound truths about human experience. Periods of darkness do not erase continuity. They alter perception. They create temporary uncertainty. But underlying stability often remains intact. This insight lies at the heart of how faith has historically helped individuals navigate change. Faith does not promise a world free from uncertainty. It offers a framework for enduring within uncertainty. It affirms that transformation does not negate purpose. It emphasizes that continuity persists beneath disruption. The symbolic interpretation of blood moons reflects this understanding. They visually demonstrate that even dramatic change occurs within an ordered universe. They remind observers that darkness does not eliminate light. It simply changes how that light is perceived. This perspective becomes especially meaningful during periods of widespread transformation. When societies experience rapid technological, cultural, or political shifts, individuals often feel disconnected from familiar reference points. They search for stability, for reassurance, for reminders that continuity persists. The sky has historically provided that reassurance. Its vastness offers perspective. Its predictability demonstrates order. Its enduring presence reminds observers that human history unfolds within a larger framework, and unusual celestial events intensify this awareness. They capture attention, encourage reflection, create shared moments of observation, moments in which individuals across cultures pause simultaneously to look upward. This shared experience reinforces a sense of connection, not only to the universe, but to one another. In this way, the blood moon becomes more than a celestial event. It becomes a moment of collective reflection, a reminder that despite differences in culture, belief, or geography, human beings share the same sky. They witness the same transformations. They ask similar questions. They seek similar reassurance during times of change. This shared experience highlights a profound truth, that the search for meaning during uncertainty is universal. It transcends generations. It crosses cultural boundaries. It reflects a fundamental aspect of human consciousness. And perhaps this is the deepest significance of lunar tetrads. Not that they predict historical events, not that they control the course of faith communities, but that they consistently appear within the context of human transformation. They become focal points for reflection during moments when individuals and societies are already searching for perspective. They remind observers that transformation is part of a recurring pattern, that change is not unprecedented, that continuity has always followed disruption. Understanding this shifts the meaning of blood moons entirely. They are no longer symbols of foreboding. They become symbols of perspective, reminders that even dramatic change occurs within a stable universe, that darkness can transform appearance without eliminating essence, that uncertainty exists within continuity. This realization offers a powerful source of reassurance, because it reframes transformation not as chaos, but as evolution within an enduring pattern. Today, humanity possesses extraordinary knowledge about the mechanics of the cosmos. We can predict lunar eclipses centuries in advance. We understand the precise physics behind their appearance. We know exactly why the moon turns red. And yet, when a blood moon rises, millions still pause, still observe, still reflect. Not because they expect prophecy, but because something ancient within human consciousness still responds. A quiet awareness. A recognition that in witnessing this transformation, they are also witnessing a metaphor for their own experience of change. And perhaps this is why the fascination with blood moons has endured across centuries. Because they remind observers of something essential. That human history, with all its uncertainty and transformation, unfolds within a universe defined by order rather than chaos. That cycles continue. That continuity persists. That light remains even when temporarily filtered by darkness. So the next time a blood moon rises in the night sky, consider viewing it not as a warning, but as an invitation. An invitation to pause, to step back from immediate concerns, to reflect on the broader patterns that shape existence, to remember that transformation does not erase continuity, that uncertainty does not eliminate meaning, that change itself is part of a larger, enduring rhythm. Because the sky does not send signs to control history, it offers perspective. It reminds observers that they are part of something vast, ordered, and enduring. And when the world feels uncertain, when familiar structures begin to shift, sometimes the most grounding act is simply to look upward, to remember that even in darkness, light has not disappeared. It has not been extinguished. It is only passing through a different path, waiting, as it always has, to emerge again. And if this reflection stirred something within you, if it helped you see the sky and your own journey with a deeper sense of perspective, then continue walking this path with us. Here on the Soul Spire, we do not chase fear or predictions. We explore meaning, perspective, and the quiet truths that help us remain steady in a changing world. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to support the journey. Like this video, so it can reach others searching for reassurance. Share it with someone who may feel overwhelmed by uncertainty, someone who might need a reminder that change does not erase hope. And subscribe to the Soul Spire to continue exploring the deeper connections between history, faith, and the human experience. Because every video here is not separate. They are steps in a single ascent, an ongoing journey toward clarity, perspective, and quiet strength. And when even one person pauses, reflects, and finds stability within uncertainty, the world becomes just a little more grounded. And that matters more than you know.